So, welcome back. In case you skipped, you'll find these two HTML files attached to this lecture. So make sure to download them and insert them into your views folder. And now the goal is to serve them. We didn't work on the JS files in the last lecture. We just added the HTML files. And make sure to explore them to understand what they do. In the end, we got the same content as before. We just added an extra header. And then in add product, we still have the form. In shop HTML, we got some dummy code since we have no products to serve yet. And now I want to serve these HTML files in my routes. Now, how does that work? Let's start in the shop.js file. Instead of sending some text or this HTML text here in this case, let's instead send a file with send file. And send file, well, allows us to do just that, send back a file to the user. And as you see here in the description, it automatically sets the content type response header field. And we'll see if that works for us or not. So send file is what I execute, and now we just need to point at that file we want to send. Now here, the question is, how does the path look like? The file is in the views folder, but how should this path now look like? Well, we could try using slash and assume that we see all of that from the view of the app.js file, which is in the end the file which starts our entire server. And the fact that shop.js is in a subdirectory doesn't really matter because we export its functionality and import it into the app.js file, which is in the root folder. So we could try using slash for the root path, an absolute path seen from the root folder, and then views, and then shop HTML, like this. Let's give this a try. Let's save this, go back to the page, and reload localhost 3000/nothing. And I don't see that. Well, the reason for this is that this path is incorrect. Let's try // here. If we now reload, path must be absolute, is the error we get. So whatever we try, this doesn't seem to work. The reason for this is that an absolute path would be correct, but slash like this actually refers to our root folder on our operating system, not to this project folder. So in order to construct the path to this directory and this file here ultimately, we can use a feature provided by NodeJS, another core module. We can import the path core module by requiring path like this. And then here we send a file where we create a path with the help of this module by calling the join method. Join yields us a path at the end. It returns a path, but it constructs this path by concatenating the different segments. Now, the first segment we should pass here is then actually a global variable made available by NodeJS. And that is the underscore, and that's important, these are two underscores, dir name. This is a global variable which simply holds the absolute path on our operating system to this project folder. And now we can add a comma and simply add views here, because the first segment is basically the path to this whole project folder. The next segment is that we want to go into the views folder. And then the third segment will be our file. So here, shop.html. And don't add slashes here because, and that's important, we use path join, not because of the absolute path. We could build this with dir name and then concatenating this manually too. But we're using path join because this will automatically build the path in a way that works on both Linux systems and Windows systems. Because as you might know, on Linux systems, you have paths like this. And I'm not talking about paths in the URL, but on your file system now. But on Windows, you use backslashes for your paths. And therefore, if you manually construct this with slashes, it would not run on Windows and the other way around. Path join basically detects the operating system you're running on and then automatically builds a correct path. Now with that, we could expect that it works, but actually, dir name here will point in this routes folder, right? Dir name gives us the path to the file in which we use it. And we're using it in the shop.js file in the routes folder. So this will point to the routes folder. But views is actually located in a sibling folder to routes. So what can we do regarding that? Now the solution is that we add one more segment in there, and that is .. And this simply means go up one level. So this will now build a path where it first goes into the folder of this file, so into routes. Then it goes up one level, then into views. So if it's up one level, it's in the root folder, then into views, and then it serves this. And with that, if we now load localhost 3000/ again, we see that HTML file being served. And now is a great time for you to pause the video and ensure that you serve add product when this route gets loaded. Were you successful? Let's do it together. For this, let's first of all import the path module again, the core module. So const path require path to pull that in. We don't need to install that because it is a core Node.js module. And then here, we don't use send, but send file. And we will then use path join the dir name variable to get the path to this file's folder. And then we can go up one level and then into views. Whoops, should be a string, views. And then we want to serve the add-product.html file. With this, if we save that and we head over to add-product, whoops, that should be admin./add-product, we see this page too. Now, the styling is missing because we don't have any, but this works. And we can also check on add-product that the correct content type was assigned by Express. So this also works, and now we see how we can serve simple HTML files for the different routes we have. Now here's one bonus task for you, which I want you to solve and which we'll solve together in the next lecture. Add a new HTML file, which is your page not found page, which you then serve if we ever reach this middleware function.